Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another meal prep. So we're going to jump right in. So I already did a bunch of veggie prep already to get ready for this meal prep, and I needed a lot of vegetables as usual for my meals I'm going to make. And then I also wanted to make some little veggie trays for myself because I am making a couple of high protein dips. So I wanted to have lots of veggies. I also cut up some cilantro and green onions to have with taco salads this week. And let me show you how we're going to use all of these veggies. So as I always say, do this piece for sure in your meal prep. It helps out so much. So first we're going to do the dips. We're going to make some cottage cheese dips. So I've been seeing this all over the place. And you guys know I've been using cottage cheese for many, many, many years. As long as you've been watching me, I have been eating cottage cheese. But now it's trending. So yay. So we're going to go ahead and make some Fiesta Ranch dip for one of the dips. Now I use the fat-free cottage cheese for these types of things, for cooking, for dips, for sauces, because it's 0 points, it's still high protein, low calorie. But for me, if I'm personally just eating it with like some fruit or some avocado or whatever, then I like to eat the 2% kind because I feel like it has better flavor. But for these dips, it's really good. Like I said, it's low calorie, low points. So we're going to use some of this Fiesta Ranch dip, and I'm going to use about half of the package. I wasn't really sure. I was just going to kind of eyeball it. I was going to put some in there, do the mix, and then taste it. I end up using about 3/4 of a cup of cottage cheese in this container because we're going to do 2 flavors of the dip. So I just have my little blender cup here, and we're just going to go ahead and blend it up. And then I'm going to give it a taste. Now this comes out really thick, and you'll see with the next dip I actually did end up thinning it down a little bit, but you could thin it down with some almond milk, some fat-free milk, some fat-free half and half, anything like that. So, but this one I wanted a little bit thick because I like a kind of a thicker texture, but you can see I did use about half of that because I plan on using this with like bell peppers, kind of some of my like, stiffer vegetables. Plus, I think I may use it on my taco salads this week. So anyway, I kept this one really thick, but I can always thin it down with any of those items that I talked about. The next we're going to do is like a French onion dip. Now, I've used this French onion stuff from Thrive Market before. Well, this is where I get it, is at Thrive Market. But it just doesn't have a lot of flavor, so I thought I would mix it with the Italian dressing. So I'm going to do half of each. So half of the French onion and half of the Italian dressing. And I just feel like it's going to just have a lot more flavor. So again, we're going to put the rest of that cottage cheese in here. So again, it ends up being about 3/4 of a cup for each one. And then, like I said, we'll do half. Now, I really like this French onion dip, but like I said, it just doesn't have a ton of flavor to me anyway when I've made the dip before. But I like to use it in baking and things. I'm not baking, but in cooking and things like that. So here's the ingredients if you're not familiar with this brand. But anyway, I really like this. I also have the ranch version. I think I'm out of them. I need to do a Thrive Market order. But definitely recommend these dips. And then this is just the Safeway brand of the Italian dressing mix. And I just thought it would just add just a kind of a punch to it. And you guys, I'll kind of give you a little preview. I did taste it, and it is really good. Really, really good. The next dip I want to try is this one. It's supposed to be like queso. I'm seeing that kind of all over as well. Now, you see how thick this one came out? Came out a lot thicker. So we're going to just do a splash of this fat-free milk. It's like a high-protein milk. I literally just did like maybe 2 tablespoons, and I mixed it up, and we got much thinner dip. But you can even do it thinner than this as well. But I tried both of these. They are really good. Now, these are really good for people who don't like the tangy of plain non-fat Greek yogurt. A lot of people complain about that. They've told me that before. This is definitely good for those people who don't like that because it's just cottage cheese and it doesn't have that texture of cottage cheese. So it tastes really good. Definitely test it out. I really think you guys will like it. Next up, we're going to do a chicken fajita foil pack. So we're going to use the onions and the bell peppers on this little tray here of the veggies that I cut up. We have some thin sliced chicken breast. So as I say, whenever I make these foil packs, definitely use the thin chicken breast. We're going to use hearts of palm, the riced one, in place of like rice in this recipe. And then I'm going to try out this fire roasted fajita seasoning that I got at Grocery Outlet. So I will link the original recipe down below that just uses regular rice, but we're going to use this hearts of palm. I love hearts of palm, you guys. I cannot recommend it enough. Anyway, so let's go ahead. And I also decided to add some cheese because I think the recipe that I'm following also added cheese. And I thought, why not? Why not cheese? So here's what the hearts of palm looks like. Now I ended up making 2 of these. I only showed you guys 1 on camera, but I did end up making 2 because if I don't have it, I can always throw it in the freezer. That's what's nice about these foil packs that you make, is you can throw them in the freezer if you don't end up cooking it. So I put a little bit of that seasoning in there. Just didn't have quite a punch to it that I really like. So I'm going to use this fajita seasoning that I bought as backup. And I added just a teaspoon to this and mixed it up. And that definitely was way better. So I'm not sure I'll repurchase that Spice World fajita seasoning again. So far, I've liked the other ones that I have tried that I picked up. We're going to spray this with some cooking spray. You have like a foil piece about 12 by 18. And then I'm just going to lay the rice down here on the bottom. Now, because this is, you don't have to like worry about cooking it. It'll cook in the air fryer. All of that, you don't have to worry about any of that. That's what's nice about the hearts of palm. You could also use cauliflower rice. And if you want to keep it lower carb, or you can use regular rice. Now, I'm going to keep my chicken whole because it is so thin. So I'm going to keep it whole. I did end up putting just a tiny bit of that fajita seasoning from the Spice World jar on top here just to kind of test it out again. You know, it just, like I said, just kind of different. It just did not have a good flavor as far as I'm concerned. Now I'm just going to kind of put the veggies kind of around it. So it's kind of like a nest, just kind of around it. So I'm just using onions. We have yellow bell peppers, red bell peppers, and green bell peppers. You can add whatever you want to this as usual. But that's just what I'm going to add on here. Just going to add a little bit more onion. And then I am going to sprinkle a little bit more of the fajita seasoning on top. Just to kind of add some more flavor to it. So I'm going to do that next as I get all these veggies put on. There are lots of veggies. So now, yeah, so I'm just going to sprinkle on just a little bit of seasoning. Just so when it cooks, it just kind of adds more flavor in there. I think it's going to be okay. If not, I can always just add in more flavor, more seasoning. So next up, we're going to add on the cheese. So I weighed out just a serving of cheese. So this is 28 grams of the reduced fat Mexican blend cheese. I'm just going to put that on there. Now I have not put this all in my tracker or anything, so I don't have all the points and calories for everything to tell you by voice. But here on the screen, you will see the points, calories, and protein, which is the main things that I kind of follow on my journey, as you guys know. But I will throw this in the air fryer. You guys will see it next week in one of my videos, and you'll see how it came out. Next up, I would do kind of my take on a pasta primavera. I will link the original recipe down below. We're going to use the Bonza chickpea pasta, some light Italian dressing. For the chicken, I'm using this Tyson rotisserie breast chicken. You guys know this is my favorite. Here's all the veggies. And then we are going to use some shaved Parmesan and the Olive Garden light dressing. Again, use whatever veggies you want to use, but these are the veggies that I'm going to use. Now, I am going to cook them in a pan just to kind of make them kind of crisp tender. And I do like to saute my veggies in a little bit of better than bouillon, like this paste stuff. So I just put like half a teaspoon in there, and I'll add some water when I add the veggies. So I'm just going to do all the veggies in there. And now I don't want my veggies super soggy. I just want them to be just a little bit cooked, but definitely kind of like, I think they call it crisp tender. And that's how I want mine. I like to have my veggies to have a little bit of a crunch, but I didn't want them totally raw in the salad. So I just added a little bit of water there, about a quarter of a cup is what I added in there. And then we're just going to saute these up. So anytime you don't want to use any, olive oil is good. It's a healthy fat. But if you are trying to watch your calories and you just don't want to cook with oil, definitely that is your prerogative. So you can just do what I do, and that's just saute in some broth. Now, sometimes I will use oil depending on the dish that I'm making. Sometimes it may just add a little bit more flavor, but in this case, I feel like we're going to have enough flavor with all the seasonings and the veggies. So I am using the Kinder seasoning. This is my favorite, the salt, pepper, garlic one. It's called the Blend. I get the huge one at Costco, and I just save my little container here, and I just keep refilling it. So again, I'm just cooking this on about 7, and I'm just going to keep sauteing up these veggies up until they just have just bright color, but also are nice and still a little bit crispy. Now I already cooked my pasta, so I did 4 ounces of pasta. So it's 2 ounces for each one. I've just been letting it drain and kind of cool off over there. So we're going to add that pasta to there. Now, if you want, you could just leave out the pasta and maybe do beans, or you could do any kind of pasta You could do cauliflower rice with this. You could do hearts of palm, like they do have the hearts of palm pasta. You could do that. But I just wanted to do some protein pasta because I haven't had any like really legit pasta in a while. So we're going to do this. Now, I do like to weigh the entire container. Since I put it all in one dish, I'm just going to weigh the entire thing off of with everything in it. And then that way I can kind of try to get as much of a, equal in each of my containers as I can. So what I do is I just put the bowl on top, zeroed out. So now we're only weighing the food, and then I'll just divide that by 2 because this is only going to be 2 of my lunches this week. So I just wanted to do it that way. So then I'll get my meal prep containers out, and I'm just going to do the half amount again. Now I get these containers at Walmart. So far, I can tell you the only thing I don't like about them are the lids. They do the little clamp things. They do break off after a while because I do use these every single week. But honestly, the size of these, because they're so narrow, they fit in my refrigerator produce drawers so well. So for all my little all of my vegetable trays and stuff is so nice. I can fit 2 of them stacked up in there. So they're worth it. Like I said, I get them at Walmart. Highly recommend them. Olive Garden light dressing. I actually was going to put the dressing in and mix it all in the big bowl, but I forgot. But this actually works out better because now I can make sure I'm controlling exactly how much I'm getting. So I'm just doing 2 tablespoons, which is 32 grams of this particular dressing. You want to make sure you look at your label because 2 tablespoons is not created equal with every type of food. Typically, like in dips and stuff, 2 tablespoons is 28 grams. So I was kind of surprised that this was 32 grams. And I'm also weighing out my chicken. So I'm making sure I'm doing 3 ounces of chicken because I did do 6 ounces of chicken prior before I heated it up. And then the shaved Parmesan, actually doing 10 grams of this. So 5 grams is a serving. So I'm actually doing 10 grams and I weighed that out ahead of time. So we're doing 10 grams of the shaved Parmesan. Now, what I like about this is that it is so thinly shaved that it looks like you're getting a lot, but you actually, you're not. So I just think this pasta is going to be so good. It just has all those fresh veggies in there. It's just such a great summer meal. And I'm really looking forward to this week. I think it's just going to be, like I said, just kind of a full of veggies. It's going to have a lot of protein because of the chicken and the protein pasta. And I'm just really excited to have this. So again, I will pop here on the screen all the points, calories. This is probably going to be a little bit higher point, which is great that I know what it's going to be ahead of time so I can plan my dinners around that. And I know because I have some actually lower point dinners this week, so it'll be perfect. And besides all the veggie chopping, this is actually a pretty easy meal to put together. Next up is going to be our second lunch for the week, and that's going to be a lightened up chicken Caesar salad. So we have some spring mix, again, the shaved Parmesan. I'm going to try this light Caesar dressing. It's more like it's like an oil and vinegar based versus the creamy one. Never tried it before. Classic croutons, and for the chicken, we're using the blackened chicken strips, which again are one of my favorites. And let's go ahead and throw these salads together. So I made this easy by doing a lot of the stuff ahead of time off the camera because there's no reason for you to sit there and watch me weigh out croutons. So we're just going to put a healthy amount of lettuce in here. I love, love, love this spring mix. It's one of my favorite ones. I actually like the baby spring mix better because it just has all the greens are baby greens, and I think they're a little bit kind of sweeter tasting, but they were all out of baby greens. I couldn't find it at 3 different stores I went to, so we ended up with these ones, which is fine. And then I'm just putting the chicken. I should have probably actually weighed the chicken, but I did weigh out ahead of time 6 ounces of chicken. So I'm just kind of eyeballing the chicken. But the blackened chicken strips are 0 points on Weight Watchers, but there, of course, are calories on it. So I was trying to make it look as even as I could. And like I said, I did kind of do a lot of stuff off camera as far as the weighing. So I did already weigh out, again, 10 grams of this shaved Parmesan. Now, as you noticed, I used this in 2 of my meals. I like to do that. I like to use some of the same ingredients in my meals, but yet I have different meals. And it really helps out with your groceries and your grocery bill and using up things in your pantry. Already weighed out the dressing, and it's in my little containers here that I get at Amazon. I will have those linked in my Amazon store. And then I just weighed out the croutons. I did actually 14 grams of croutons, which is 2 servings. So it's 7 grams as a serving. And I did 2 servings of that. And again, I will have the points, calories, and protein here on the screen. This one may also be a little bit higher points because of the cheese and croutons, but I am so excited to have this. I think it's going to be a nice, like I said, another good summer lunch. And here is wrapping up our meal prep. So we have our 2 different lunches here. We have our chicken Caesar salads and our pasta Primavera kind of. I mean, I did loosely base it off of pasta Primavera recipe, so you'll see that recipe again linked down below. We have our dips here and all of our veggies that I'm going to be using the dips for. I did try both of the dips, so I can tell you right now they are amazing. The Fiesta one is probably, I don't know, it's hard to tell which one is my favorite. The Fiesta one I think will be perfect with like the bell peppers and the cucumbers because they're not very high flavor. And so you'll really get that dip flavor, but definitely try it out. Don't be scared of cottage cheese when you're blending it like that because you just cannot taste cottage cheese. But like I said, it doesn't have that tanginess of non-fat Greek yogurt, which a lot of people don't like. So highly recommend these high protein dips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.